Are we going to do a drawing now?
This is exciting. Yeah, it's finally time. We're ready to start doing some drawings.
Here,
And
I just wanna-
we're going to do. Now, wait a minute. Hugh McNaughton. You are ineligible. I've already had to pull your name out 3 times today, Hugh. That's not going to work, man.
Well, I still got
He
some
keeps
more
trying to get
chances
me.
because I put 9 in there.
He keeps trying. That was a clip there from the Christmas episode this past year, and we had some really good giveaways. And Hugh kept trying to put his own name in there, and he finally got his name in there before we got going good. And but you know, he was always full of things like that. Guys, we're joined now up here with some other familiar faces that you guys will recognize. We've got Jim and Anna Flowers up here with us now, from Flowers Deer Processing Garden Center, but you guys have been involved for so long here on the show with you, and I know that y'all have lots and lots of memories, different shows you've done with him, and you were talking a while ago about how one of your favorite things was just the phone calls and how, you know, he would never, if he didn't know the answer,
he would find out.
He would just tell you he didn't know it, and he'd find out.
Yeah, I know who to call, but I'll find out and let you know.
Sometimes he'd be on the phone before we left the studio that night calling somebody, you know. But I mean, you guys have just been a huge part of the show, and I can tell you without a doubt, I'm sure others already have told you, but I mean, you guys were family to you. I mean, he
was family to us.
You were family.
For sure.
And he did a whole lot with our family, and I got stories that I'll be able to tell my kids. And I mean, times he got flipped kayaks in the creek.
I heard about that one. I heard he had a close call. And Anna, was it you that saved him that day?
Yes, he liked telling that one on me. So, yeah, he got in a bind, got hung on a log that was kind of submerged. And so when he got hung, he lost his balance and went over. And that kayak was just upstream of him and kept just hitting him in the back of the head.
He had an Orca cooler, like a 45-quart Orca cooler in the back of this kayak. Hit him right in the back of the head. After that trip, he said, buddy, if you ever get in a fight with me, you might as well just shoot me because you ain't gonna knock me out.
Yeah, but you know what amazed me is he got all of his stuff. Like, we had to catch it all downstream, haul it back into his kayak. We still had a ways to keep going before we got to the end of our trip. And you know, we were on a creek or river that we didn't know, and so we had told him, like, we're not real sure where we're taking out, we're just gonna have to wing it, and you know, all this stuff. Well, we get down there and there's this guy that comes up on a side-by-side, and I'm thinking, gosh, we don't know this person. Like, they may be upset we're pulling out on his property. And he just walks up like he already knew the guy, and was like, hey, how's it going? And
it turned out they did know each other. I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, y'all ever want to come back? Y'all come on back. And we might as well have been family this time.
They'd run us off. And he was up there making buddies.
He was. It didn't matter that he was hurt, and you know, he had a terrible headache, his ankles hurt, you know, and here he is with a smile on his face, and he's, you know, making friends.
Still cutting up, making jokes, I guarantee you. Well, speaking of some calls, we do have some calls coming in right now. We're going to take a few. We've got Chris here. Chris, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, evening guys. How are y'all doing?
Doing pretty good.
Well, I hate to say it, but I think you gentlemen have mighty big shoes to fill with Hugh being gone, you know, from the radio show and the television show. But I think he's left y'all in good shape. He's left y'all with some good tools and experiences, and y'all be able to keep this thing rolling. You know, he was a friend to so many people, and you know, this Saturday is opening the deer season. You know, he'd been right there with all of us if he could have been. And I make it a point every time I climb into a tree stand when I'm hunting deer, you know, to say a prayer to the Lord to, you know, keep me safe and let me see that big buck and stuff. But I think this Saturday, with all of us going to the field, we ought to say a little prayer to the Lord that we got to have Hugh in our lives, you know, and carry him in the woods with us this year as well. So I just wanted to call and say you guys are going to be fine, and you still going to have a great show, and Hugh's probably watching y'all right now and smiling.
He is, I guarantee you. Yeah. Thank you very much for calling.
That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you very much for calling. Calvin, how are you doing tonight?
Hey fellas, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Thank you for calling.
Well, I just want to say a good word about Hugh. I started with Hugh back when him and Doug Markin started the show. I was one of the first sponsors. I was with Hugh about 15 years. Dayton knows that, and Bobby Cochran. and I spent a lot of time with Hugh in the tree stands and out in the dove fields, and he was the jolliest guy. I spent sponsoring for 15 years through Cunningham Buick GMC.
Okay, yeah.
And it was the greatest time I ever spent with the guy. He loved kids, and he was a scholar to the outdoors. And it really, really, really hurts my heart that Hugh's gone. And I just want to bless y'all for the good show you're having, and Hugh's legacy will carry on. I will promise you that.
Absolutely.
What a great guy, and he was just a great person, and thank y'all for the good show, and y'all will continue to do good through Hugh's grace, okay?
We will. Thank you very much for those kind words. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Yeah, you know, they both hit on kind of the same thing there, and you know, we obviously, Anthony, you and I have talked a ton about this the last little bit, but and I was explaining this to Rick earlier too. But since I've worked with you here, you know, for coming on 3 years now, well, it has taken. He took me under his wing, you know, and he taught me so much. It was a learning experience every time I was with him again. You know, it's, you know, we're filming this cut. Well, here's how we're going to film it. Here's how we got to do it. Well, you're fixing to, you know, he taught me one of the things I'll do forever, and that he taught me one night, just as an example. We were filming some voiceovers for some of the sponsorship ads, and I recorded it the first time or two, and we were doing a couple different cuts, and he said, you know what you got to do, Brandon? He said, whether they can see you or not, he said, just smile and kind of laugh, you know, but smile while you're talking. And he said, I'm telling you, it'll be so much more natural. And it is, you know, and it's just little things like that. I mean, he taught me so much, and he's taught you so much.
That stuff you only learn from experience.
That's right. It's just the things you only learn from experience. So, you know, I've had the time to get the experience here, you know, on the show, but with him in my ear teaching me so much, you know, and he showed us so many things, and just mentored us to where we do feel comfortable enough, you know, that we, you know, we can carry this on.
It was something you said the other day, Brandon, when you and I had to speak at Hugh's funeral, and you said, you know, y'all would basically go over the show, him driving up here.
Yeah.
Well, the radio show the first couple weeks, you know, because I hadn't done anything like that. And so I would call Hugh and talk to him for a minute, and he said, oh, brother, it'll be all right. He said, you love the outdoors like I do. Don't worry about it. We'll be fine when we get in there. And, you know, I was sitting there thinking, may have to go over some stuff.
Yeah.
We never went over nothing. We walked in that door, and when it was time to go, when that music started in our earphones, and like, well, I guess he knows what he's doing. And, and now I see he did all the way.
He did. You know, I thought, you know, the same thing. I thought, well, we're going to go in and rehearse this, or we're going to have this script or this, that, and other. But, you know, we'd get in the truck up in Mount Juliet, as he always made sure to say. And that 30-minute drive down here, there was many weeks that's when we decided what we were going to talk about. You know, and of course, sometimes we had shows that were set up. We knew what we were going to do. But sometimes, if we didn't have a guest or something, we'd just ride down here and say, you know what?
Hey, what's going on?
Let
me tell you what.
And this right here was Hughes.
Is the best thing ever happened. Okay.
I agree.
And Dayton would do this about once every few shows.
It's like 30 feet down here.
Don't fall off that ladder.
Listen, I'm gonna be back in a minute. I'll be back.
All right.
There's no telling how many times people get phone calls the day of. He'd call me day of, hey, can you be on the show tonight?
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, yeah.
Man, I tell you, the very first time I was ever on the show, just as a guest, first time I was ever on it, I was sitting there eating lunch. It was probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday. Phone rings. I saw it was Hugh. Picked, hey, man, what are you doing, you know? He said, Brandon, I want you to come be on the show tonight. And I said, tonight, like here in about 3 or 4 hours? He said, yeah, could you do that? You know, and it was just like that from then on. You know what I mean? It's just like you say. I mean, it was just so spontaneous.
Yes.
But he made it flow so well.
Nobody that ever guessed
No,
that.
that's right.
ever guessed.
Never. I mean,
Nobody would ever guessed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have either, but I see now.
But he just he was so good at that stuff, and just the laughs that he would have sometimes by putting you in that kind of a spot. You know, he loved it.
And I think he knew that some of the best material he could come up with would be spontaneous.
Yeah.
If you rehearsed it, you're gonna mess it up.
Yeah.
So I think he knew that if he could catch you off guard and ask you questions you didn't know the answer to right off, and that it would come more natural.
But I guarantee you, anybody watching would think it was rehearsed.
No, they would never know the difference.
No, they sure wouldn't, and it never was. Never.
No, ever, no.
He, you know, another thing with you guys up here, it makes me think a lot, you know, of course, about the recipes and things. You've done so many for us over time, but, you know, Hugh loved those recipes, and you'd get up here and set up whatever you had, and you could just see those eyes cut. You know,
Soon as I take the lid off.
And man, he had to know what you had up there, and
Man could eat.
he could eat, and he loved when you would bring something else in, and he'd get to just sit there and try to guess at what it was first, and then figure out how you made it, and then make sure he sampled it to tell you whether it would pass inspection or not.
It'd be a bowl like that size of some there. Well, why didn't you bring enough for everybody else?
Yeah. Hey, where's their bowl at? You know, and I remember one night, I believe it was Chris Benziger was on the show, and he had some ribs cooked. I believe it was Chris. I may be wrong who it was. Had ribs, and they're beautiful. And he had taken one part of the rack and he put it on this real nice display plate and everything, and had some little garnish and stuff with it. It looked so nice. And then he had the rest sitting over here on the set table. Well, Hugh comes in, and we're all kind of getting ready for the show and all, and nobody really paid attention. We come around to the recipe segment, and Chris gets ready to come up into the recipe segment, and half the ribs was gone. and what it was Hugh had come in and found those ribs laying on that plate, buddy. Hey, he wore them out, and the bones were just laying up here on a paper towel. And so he was scrambling, you know, trying to get some more ribs put on that plate for the recipe. But you know, it's just things like that, you know, all the time. Just like Dayton did a while ago. Hugh just lived for when Dayton would come through that back window, and he didn't take his tooth out for us tonight, but Hugh lived for that stuff. He lived for it, man, and just so many good times.
Loved to laugh, loved to make people laugh, and just
Sure did.
He did. We had a lot of good laughs together. I know you guys did too. Does Taylor got those pictures?
He does.
You guys brought some pictures from some shows that y'all had done over the years. Again, how long have you guys been working with you down there? I know it's been a good
I
while.
would say as long as he's had the show.
So probably
because I can't remember much. I mean, I was probably 12 or 13 when we started.
Yeah. Here's some of the pictures they brought with us tonight. Now this picture here, I love this one because there's just so many different faces there that you know that he loves so much.
Bobby Gentry,
and
Chris
Bobby Gentry, Chris Snow, Josh Lovell. I mean, he had these people were all family. You know, you guys. You know, like I said earlier, it was family. When we were at a show or something, and he would introduce you to 300 people that day. All 300 was, this is my friend Anthony. This is my friend Jim. It didn't matter if he saw him every day of his life or if he saw him once last year. This is my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he'd take you all the way across the showgrounds to introduce you to somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. He would.
He's like, hey, I found somebody you need to meet, and off you go.
You said that just like he did. I mean,
now see,
sure
in this picture here, just again, that is Hugh in a picture. I mean, you know, that
sums him up.
That's the show. It sums him up. You know, because a lot of what the viewers have always gotten to see and laugh with, I mean, that's been wonderful. But if they only knew how many laughs happened out here in the green room or in the parking lot or on the stage in between segments, it was just all the time, and it never ended, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You'd be laughing, talking to him on the way up here, all the way to the time he left here. You know, he found joy in everything that he talked about. He would find the fun in it.
His last day on earth was like that too, I'm going to tell you.
It was. Now, Anthony, you were with him this past Saturday and spent the whole day with him. You know,
Mike Adams and I spent just about the whole day with Hugh, and that's one thing I just want for the people to know. You know, it's not like Hugh was laying in a bed just going away. It wasn't that. He called me Friday night. He'd got his pick line out, and he said he had a fever, and Debbie had gone to the pharmacy to get him something. And I was worried about him. And the next morning, Mike and I were supposed to go to an event at Pickwick at a customer appreciation at taxidermy and a deer processor, or Derek Wood's place. And Hugh texted me while we were eating breakfast. He said, "Y'all still going to Pickwick?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Brother, I'll meet y'all there." You know how y'all, brother, everything.
Yeah, brother.
Brother, I'll meet y'all there. And sure enough, he did. And he really got a kick out of it because they was going to have an archery contest, Brandon. And when Hugh come in and I told the guys, I said, I'd introduced them. A lot of them knew him too, through the, you know, seeing on Facebook on the radio show. And I said, he was national champion one time. Two of them guys said, "Well, I'm out. I might as well go home. I'm not shooting." And so when they got out there to shoot, I mean, they was just, you know, and Hugh got out there and he was looking through the binoculars. He was telling them where they was hitting, especially when they got back to 40 yards. And on that last segment, Hugh started grinning and he said, "Hey, I know where I want y'all to take the last shot," because the boy didn't know where he wanted to set them up. He said, "Let's go down here at 3 feet." They started laughing. I'm going to tell you, none of them hit the bullseye. and then, you know, when the guy that won, we took a picture, and I don't know if you got the picture on here, but
we do. We'll pull it up.
Yeah, I think that's the last picture we ever took of Hugh. And I mean, after that,
he was grinning in that one just like he has
and
all the
we
others.
went to eat, and he had fun. And when Debbie texted me the next morning, I'm telling you, it was. That's the picture up right now. If y'all see it, that's the picture of that day. And it's just heartbreaking when I got that call, and I'll never forget it. But I'm just thankful, thank God that I got to spend his last day on earth with him.
Yeah,
I really am.
Guys, we're going to take another quick break. We'll be back here in just a minute with some more Southern Woods and Waters.
I guess somebody.